ready to rock
Okay, good. Hit it.
our council
Already.
president.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is January 5th, the first meeting of the new year for the Monroe Township Council. It is our agenda and regular meeting. On behalf of all of us, we would like to wish all of you who are here with us Happy New Year, and we should all have a healthy year and a safe year for all. May we all please rise to honor our flag. Okay, Ben. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please read the sunshine law into the record?
I'll have roll call.
Oh, roll call. I forgot we were all
That's
number
okay.
earlier.
That's
My
okay.
apologies.
No problem. Councilwoman Miriam Cohen,
Present.
Councilman Charles DePiero,
Here.
Councilwoman Elizabeth Schneider,
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel,
Here.
Councilman Terrence Van Zura.
Here.
Thank you. And the sunshine law. I just was reversing the order a little
That's
bit.
okay. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1, posted on the bulletin boards within the municipal building on December 30th, 2022, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2, printed in the Home News Tribune and the Cranberry Press on December 30th, 2022. 3, posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4, sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the council president.
Thank you. We now move to the proclamations and presentations. We have 4 of them this evening to do. I would like to call upon our mayor, Stephen Delina, for those presentations.
Thank you, Madam Council
You
President.
are welcome.
So it's that time of the year again, that time of the meeting. We always have, it's a bittersweet moment where we're happy to have our retirees here, but obviously a wee bit of sadness to see them go. And if I can add, a wee bit of envy on my behalf as well. So with that, I'd like to start with Lisa Robinson. Lisa is a Monroe resident and Monroe High School graduate, was sworn in as a police officer in the Patrol Division on January 1st, 1997. She graduated from the 196th Municipal Class of the Seagirt State Police Training Academy. She was assigned to the Detective Bureau as a juvenile DARE officer in 1999. In May 2005, she was promoted to sergeant and reassigned as Patrol Division Shift Supervisor. She was promoted to lieutenant in 2014, where she also acted as the department's public information officer. In July 2017, she was reassigned as Patrol Division Commander until her promotion to captain in 2019. Captain Robinson served in the United States Army and the New Jersey National Guard. We would like to thank Captain Robinson for the professionalism she brought to the position and her 25 years of service. We'll get a little emotional now. Now, it's not the head cold I have that might make me tear up. It's my affection for you, Captain Robinson. For many years, having been a part of the community, even before I got involved in government, I had the pleasure to first meet you through the Rec Advisory Board, the Human Relations Commission, but more importantly, and we ran the spectrum on this, more importantly, the Youth Advisory Committee. And Captain Robinson, both ends of the spectrum, my dealings with you as a council person and as a mayor. The very serious side of during the flooding of Tropical Storm Henri in the command center. And on the other side, the positivity and the exuberance of working with the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee on the mock DWI crash and trial. You ran the gamut, Captain, and being part of Monroe, working with you, seeing your dedication to the police, the first responders, and I do want to thank them for coming here to show up and support. But as the proud mayor of Monroe Township, okay, it's the sinuses. Captain Robinson, it's been an honor and a privilege, and I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'd like to read this. Congratulations on your retirement, Captain Lisa Robinson, with great appreciation of 26 years of dedication and commitment. Thank you for going above and beyond, serving the citizens of the Township of Monroe. Wishing you the best on your new adventure with much respect and gratitude. Congratulations, Mayor Stephen Delina and the Monroe Township Council.
Thank you so much, Mayor Delina, for those kind words. And I want to thank my fellow officers. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting me. Now you're going to make me tear up. And to the First Aid, thank you so much for your cooperation and just your partnership throughout the years. This is my home, and I'm very proud and very privileged and honored, so honored to have served with an elite group of people. We may have our differences, but when we come together and we work together, this is a great community. And again, it's been a privilege to have served with each and every one of you. I thank you all so much. Continue to be safe, guys, out there. And I love all of you. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the bubble wrap is yours as well. All righty. Next, Mr. Carl Vogt. Carl started his utility career in Farmingdale in 1990. Then he took an operator's position in Monroe in November 1997. For the first 20 years at Monroe, he worked in both water and wastewater. He performed operator's duties in the treatment plants and pump stations, fixing water mains, taking on-call duty, and plowing snow. Wherever he was needed, Carl was always first to lend a hand. For the last 5 years, he took a management position. His duties including running our important water sampling program and the town-wide water meter changeout program. Even with those important responsibilities, he stayed involved maintaining our treatment plants and chemical handling and worked tirelessly with his MTUD colleagues to ensure the safest quality drinking water for all our residents. Carl has always been a dependable and knowledgeable resource for the utility and the township. He has been a pleasure to work with for all of his colleagues, and the entire Monroe family wishes Carl the very best for a very relaxing and enjoyable retirement. Carl, come on up. Carl D. Vogt, 25 years of service. In appreciation of your many years of dedicated employment at the Monroe Township Utility Department, your retirement is truly deserved with a job well done. Congratulations, Mayor Stephen Delina and the entire Monroe Council. Congratulations.
When I I came here, it was a wide open spectrum that was here. And throughout the 25 years, I watched the utility department grow, along with the, everything else that was there. And for the most part, it's been, actually, when I look back, a quick 25. And it's hard to say that and kind of realize that, but, kind of flashbacks. But I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I had the honor of working for the town. Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, Amy Antelis is unable to be with us tonight, but I'd like to just read a little bit about her. Amy was hired in 1995 as a telecommunicator. Ms. Antelis remained in the position until February of 2007, when she was hired as the Police Computer System Administrator. Amy has served this role in the department and will be missed by all who worked with her. We would like to thank Amy for the 27 years of dedicated service. Amy, thank you so much for being part of that Monroe family. Thank you again. I defer back to you now, Madam
Okay.
Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is, I'm a lefty. This microphone is on the right
Sorry.
side. I think, yes, thank you. Good, sorry. Majority of the world is right-handed. They're not lucky like us. I would like to introduce to all of you Detective Stephen Menhart. I'm assuming he is with us this evening. Please. Detective Menhart is responsible for the Safe Place program. And when I read about it several weeks ago, I was impressed with what it will offer to our residents and the work it takes to have this kind of program in place. So please, Detective, share that information with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. My name is Detective Menhart from the Monroe Township Police Department, and I'm here tonight to talk about our Safe Place program that we started this year here at the Monroe Township Police Department. I want to thank Mayor Delina and the Township Council for having me here tonight to speak, and for everyone here who's attending. I also wanted to say a big thank you to Chief Michael Bienes for bringing the Safe Place program to Monroe. This was his idea to bring it here, and I'm honored to be a part of its implementation and its growth. As a member of the LGBTQ community myself, it's difficult to put into words how much it means to see a leader of our department spearhead this initiative and bring it to our community. So, what is the Safe Place program? The Safe Place program has three basic components. The first is this sticker. You guys may have noticed it when you came in tonight. It hangs at the front door and the rear exit to the building. It's highly visible. It designates the business as a safe place location in town. Part two is that the owner and staff of a business who has agreed to be a part of the program will call 911 if a victim of a biased crime or incident comes into their location, and the owner and staff agree to let the victim shelter at that location until the police arrive. That's pretty much it. It's basic, it's simple, it's what we hope anyone would do from one human being to another. Now, you might be asking yourself at this point, why is this necessary? Doesn't everybody already do this? And you wouldn't be alone if you were asking yourself that question. I've spent the last couple weeks going from business to business in town, and many people have asked me just that. But the answer is yes, it is necessary. Until you found yourself as part of a group that you didn't know who to go to for help or who you can trust, you may not understand the significance of a program like this. So the Safe Place program, it was created in Seattle, Washington, and it was unfortunately born from a very real problem that we in law enforcement have a responsibility to address. And that's a distrust between minority communities like the LGBTQ community, but also people of foreign nationalities and certain religious groups that may not be trusting the police. In 2014, the Seattle Police Department appointed Officer John Ritter as their full-time LGBTQ liaison in an effort to help improve relations with the LGBTQ community. 9 years ago, the political climate was different then. This was a big deal for taking an officer out of a uniform position and putting him in this very specific role. While he was there, what he found was that he began receiving a surge of hate crime reports made directly to him. and the volume of which they didn't correspond with the statistics that the department had previously had. As Officer Ritter's time as the LGBTQ liaison continued, they began tracking the number of incidents that were reported to 911 and their 10-digit line versus what was being reported directly to him. And they found that there was a significant disparity between actual crime and crime that was being reported. If these crimes aren't being reported to us, we can't investigate, we can't make arrests, and we can't protect people from becoming future victims of these criminals. So why does this disparity between actual crime and reported crime exist? It's because of our past. Unfortunately, the police and the LGBT community, we have a rocky past, and it's a very long history lesson that I don't want to get into the specifics of, but it led to a mistrust between the two groups. There was skepticism in the community of whether or not domestic reports were going to be taken seriously. Were they going to be brushed off? There was also worry that people might assume, well, you chose this life, so you deserve what's happening to you. So what we're aiming to do with this program is help bridge that gap. We're trying to take a step towards building and reinforcing the trust between minority communities and the police. The Safe Place sticker, it's a universal and easily recognizable symbol. It shows that by displaying it at a business, that business is a place where someone can go to for help and seek shelter. It also shows that the Monroe Township Police Department supports the LGBTQ community and all minority communities. It reassures victims of hate crimes that when we actually do arrive, we're going to treat them with dignity and respect. But lastly, it really unites Monroe Township as a community, one that's truly there for one another and working to make our town a safer place. Monroe Township is the 304th agency in the country to join the program, and all of our officers have been trained on it. It's free to join for any local business. All of our stickers that we hand out are complimentary, and they can enroll at any time. If anyone here owns a local business and is interested in joining or knows a business that is, they can reach out to me at the police department, or they could send an email to us. Our email address is safeplace@monroetownshippolice.org, and all the information is also on our website. I've also left some brochures at the rear of the room if anyone wants to take with them that explains the program in a little bit more detail.
Thank you very much, Officer. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Detective.
Thank
Very much appreciated. I'm going to ask my council colleagues, beginning at my left, if anyone wishes to make a comment on our honorees this evening before we proceed with the agenda. We'll keep them brief so we can get back to work.
Thank
Please.
you.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Thank you. So first, I do want to thank Carl and Amy Antelis for all your years of service. Anytime you see anything over 25 years or 25 plus, it's just amazing, and we really, truly thank you for your service to our community. Captain Robinson, you're one of the first people that I met when I came to Monroe, when I moved here 13 years ago, 12 years ago. But I have to say, so I will share a story. Last night, or maybe the night before, I said out loudly, I was looking at my agenda, and I said, oh, Captain Robinson is retiring. So I said this out to my family, and it was interesting because everyone chimed in. They had something to say about Captain Robinson. So I started out with when I met you back as when I was a Barclay Brook PTA president. You came in and did a lot of educational programs for the parents. My one son chimed in about how he worked with you on the DARE program and he had to write an essay, so everyone elaborated on what they had to do. And then my other son talked to me about, or shared with us, his work with what he did with you on the Human Relations Commission. So, you know, I think that speaks volumes when I can just say Captain Robinson is retiring and everyone had something positive to say and to share. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for all you've done. I know through the DARE program, which is now LEAD, you've impacted so many children in Monroe, and it speaks volumes, again, when someone can say something about it today. So I wish you all the best, and I hope to continue to work with you as you volunteer through the community through retirement. So enjoy. All the best.
Sir.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, and once we go through this every so often, people retire, but Lisa, Carl, Amy, you're the type of people that, again, just like many others before you, make Monroe what it is. It's that certain sense of professionalism, the ability to do your job, do it well. And, you know, especially with police officers, you don't hear bad things, which is, to me, is a big plus. You know, a lot of towns, you know, people get things done and there's a lot of negative criticism. I think here and I said it before, we have one of the best police forces in the entire country. You were a part of it. And I see all the officers here today, they will continue to be a part of it. So I also want to say thank you. Thank you for all you've done. Carl, thank you for all you've done. I had nothing to do with the utility department. I really don't know exactly what you were doing there. But you know what? You didn't screw anything up, so you must have done pretty good. But thank you. Thank you for your effort, all those years that you put in. It's, never easy being in one place that long, and, you have people above you, people below you, but getting along and doing it. And I'm sure Amy, for the things that she did, was also the same. So nice to see all of our officers here. I also just want to say about the Safe Place program. I think that's wonderful. It's a program that shouldn't have to be necessary, but it is necessary. And it's something that I'm glad to see that Monroe is enlightened enough to go forward with. And I congratulate you, and I'm very happy that you were able to take charge of this and do it. And certainly anything that I think I probably speak for the whole council, anything we could do to further the program, we'd be more than happy. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming, and congratulations in your retirement.
Councilman DePiero?
Thank you very much. Lisa, I remember when you started, and the beauty about being in Monroe, my entire life, I used to clean the water company with my grandfather when I was a kid, so I remember that green bathroom right at the front entrance with the tile and everything. So I watched a lot of people come and go. As Carl said, he's seen a lot in 25 years. I say this all the time, we are part of a community that is very unique and very, we always show leadership in this town to other communities, and that's what makes Monroe strive in the right direction. And with the program, with the Safe program place that our chief recommended and our police department is following through, that's what makes the community work easier and work smoother and nicer for the whole community to work as one. And you guys make it easier for us. So our job is to continue to keep our eye on everything, and your job is to keep us safe, and you've done an amazing job. And our water, as Terry said before, Carl didn't screw anything up, so that's good. But we thank you, and I just hope that you guys have a great retirement and enjoy.
Thank you. Councilwoman Schneider, please.
What can I say about Captain Robinson? I happen to have the privilege of serving as liaison to the Human Relations Commission, of which you were part of. So I really got to know you, Lisa. Not only being a great captain, but you did a wonderful job for the Human Relations. And I say to everyone, I'm glad you're going when you can enjoy. And as one door opens, another one closes. You just close one door, I know you're going to open another one. So I wish you and your family nothing but the best. And maybe we could do lunch.
We're good at lunch.
And Amy was also so wonderful, who I got to know. Carl, I really don't know you that well, but from what I hear, you did a wonderful job. And like I said, you didn't screw up, so thank you. But you have a beautiful smile. And and Detective, thank you for bringing this program. I really appreciate, I know it's not an easy job, Detective, so thank you for all the work you're doing. Thank you.
Captain Robinson, I also know that you have another job and that you are president of your homeowners association. So since we share that role, I don't know that you're making your life significantly easier retiring from the police force, but certainly demonstrating that you continue to enjoy challenges and contributing to your community. It has been a pleasure to know you. And I did hear all these things from everybody who said, when I first met you, they told me all about you. So congratulations and enjoy the rest of your life. Carl, I picked up a phrase that the mayor uttered, because everyone, when they said you did work with the groundwater or the wastewater, And I don't know if everyone has read the same articles that I read, but you know wastewater is a very important component of disease detection and prevention. And so when they are looking for cases of polio, as they were some time back, and when they're trying to get a better handle on the COVID virus, they look at our wastewater. So it strikes me that not only not screwing up, he had some very important work to do, and I am grateful for that work because I know it's important for the public's health. Detective, I am by profession a public health nurse and spent my entire career working with people in communities, so that the work you were doing, making all people who live in our very wonderful country, but at times has been a difficult place for many people, better, and to teach them understanding, that is a gift. And I am delighted that we have this kind of program. All of us on this council regularly tell the world, or our parts of the world, what a wonderful police force we have, and just how lucky we are. So I was on a Zoom call with cousins, and they were discussing an incident in the New York City subway system. And everyone made a comment, and they said, well, you know, we all face those issues. I said, well, I don't have a subway where we live, but we don't face those issues. I live in a very safe town. And they said, really? I said, really? And if I remembered statistics better, I would have told them. So we're always happy when you're here to support your fellow officers, and we're always proud of the work that you do. So thank you all so much for your commitment to our community and to the work you do. And I understand that we need a 5-minute recess for a photo op, right? Alan's in charge of photo ops. 5 minutes, please, folks, for our photo op, and we'll see you back here. Thank you again.
It's 7
Nobody. Meeting is called to order once more.
The time is 7:05.
Thank you very much. Would the clerk please read the ordinances for introduction?
Certainly. Ordinance 01-2023-001, Supervisory Personnel 2023 Salary and Wage Ordinance for Monroe Township, Middlesex County. 01-2023-002 is ordinance fixing 2023 through 2026 salary and wages for private party billing for police department personnel. 01-2023-003 is ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a traffic control signal located at the intersection of Forest Gate Drive and Rossmore Drive in the Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. 0-1-2023-004 is ordinance amending Chapter 76 of the Monroe Township Code entitled Peace and Good Order to include Section 76-1A31, prohibiting the trespass upon private property for the purpose of tampering with or committing the theft or unlawful taking of a motor vehicle, and prescribed the penalties therefore. And 01-2023-005, ordinance amending Chapter 108 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to align with state requirements for electric vehicle supply service equipment. Excuse me?
Sorry.
Electric vehicle supply service equipment known as EVSE and make-ready parking spaces.
The parenthetical for that says that we're codifying new state law. Item 7 is the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda at the January 4th regular meeting. R1 2023-001 through R1 2023-059. Resolution 1-2023-032 has been removed. Would the council members please review those resolutions if there are any questions or concerns? At this rather lengthy list, please so state. Councilman DePiero, yes.
I have a few.
Just a few. Okay.
Okay.
We're ready.
Sure.
R1 2023-014. R1-2023-022. R1 2023-053. And R1 2023-059.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any concerns about the resolutions or wish to be recused from them? No. God, this is long. We are at the public comment portion of the agenda. Remember, it is limited to agenda items only, 5 minutes per speaker. May I have a motion to open the public comment section?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward, state your name and address. Good evening.
Good evening and Happy New Year. My name is Lucio Panos. I'm at 1208 C. Lindera Plaza, Monroe Township. First of all, I'd like to thank the clerk's office for once again the great job they did during this past election. I mean, that has to be the craziest time in your office, dealing with hundreds of people in a matter of weeks.
I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
You're
Thank you.
professional. You're compassionate to these people more than I am. Okay, so here I begin. 23004. Is there an added benefit to this amendment, and why is it being amended? Isn't stealing cars and going on private property illegal anyway? Item number 23001. Could you please explain what the cash management program is, and does that include item 23011? Is that person being hired going to work closely on this cash management plan? Item 23003, the contract is not to exceed $381,307 to the township attorney, but they also are receiving money in regards to 23017. Is that in addition to the cap, or is it included in the 381,000?
Miss-
Item number 004 and 005. Why do you need two law firms for tax appeals? Isn't that a short window of time? And it seems, I'm not sure unless you're divvying up the goods, in my opinion. Item number 23014. Specifically, please tell me if a conflict that you need alternating engineers due to conflict. Is one of the conflicts that the engineer company gave too much cash or too much contributions to political funds? Would that be a conflict under this ordinance that they gave to either friend, you know what I'm talking about, the campaign to campaigns? Item number 23027. What are the specific changes? Are these people going to be forced into an advantage plan or something like that? I'd like to know what kind of plan or what are the changes or the health benefits. And finally, item 2349 and item 2350. I'm just curious, are residents notified when there's a bond reduction, or is it just the management companies?
Mr. Weinberg?
Thank
My
you.
pleasure to refer
Oh,
these-
did I say Happy New Year to everybody, by the way,
We
too?
heard that when you started. Thank you to you as well. Thank you.
There we go. Is that better? Apologize.
Oh, yes. Do you have a new
Thanks.
mic?
So I'll try and go as quick as I can and handle all the items mentioned. On Ordinance 004, this is a separate opportunity for us to add a penalty at the local level for car tampering or car thefts. As you know, it's an epidemic in New Jersey, and so this is an opportunity for us to add a local thing and doing everything we can to deal with that issue. The criminal statutes remain the same. This would just allow them to also simultaneously be
Thank
pursued
you.
in municipal court. On 001, the cash management plan. So the resolution's online. It lays out, the locations where our money can go into. The state statute limits where funding can go. It can't go into anything that has any significant risk associated with it. And so it lays out our cash management plan, which has to follow the state statute. On item 11, just going in the order that you've presented them, Phoenix Advisors doesn't do our cash management plan. They are a previous contractor. They do our financing when we go out to bond on items, or whether we refinance or refund bond items. So they are a consultant that takes us into the market for either temporary one-year notes or permanent financing, as I'll mention in my report later. We've done a lot of refunding in 2020 and 2021, which has saved us a significant amount of money. Back to 003 and 017, those are separate resolutions, which is why they're listed separate, and they're each funded differently. One is through the current fund, and one is funded through the self-liquidating utility authority, which is why they have to be separate. On 004 and 005, we do have two firms, and that is a decision that certainly I made in terms of moving forward. 014, we do have alternate and/or conflict engineer.
Why did you make that decision?
I'm gonna.
Council President, I'm sorry, why did he make that decision with two firms? You know, he said, that's a decision I made, but what was the reasoning behind it?
We made that decision because I would assume, Mr. Weinberg, we believed it was in the best interest of managing our township and have the ability to, and have, you may disagree with that, but that would have been where it was
I
made.
didn't say anything, so you might disagree with me, but go ahead.
So, Council President, if I can, we do a
Yes.
fair and open process where
Right.
many people apply. We are allowed to utilize one or more people when we do the fair and open process to pre-qualify them to do work, and that's what we certainly did in that case, which follows the NJSA 48:11, which is the procurement process that we use. I'm just moving on, trying to get to all the answers here. 03 and 17, 04 and 05, 014. Sorry. 014, we do pre-qualify other firms and have a conflict should it be necessary. 027.
My question was the conflict, was one of the conflicts giving too much money to a campaign?
I'm not going to address
We're
that.
not-
That's not a matter that comes before this
Does
this
not come
body.
before us.
You know, me as business administrator.
So who addresses that?
All contributions that anyone receives follow the law and follow the limits of the law. And I would ask that our attorney may want to expound on that for a moment, please.
No, I know about the elect board and over.
You don't.
You know, so you split it up. Okay.
Yes.
As long as you guys keep track of the contract. Elect, I can look up elect. You know, and that's, you know, but anyway, I'm just wondering what this township does.
Oh,
It's live. when
I'm
it's-
sorry.
when you're
I'm sorry.
Everything is reported. You can see it's required by the law.
Alan, Mr. Weinberg, you
Yep,
want to
just-
continue so you
yep.
can answer the rest of?
Just really quick on the last two
Ms. Pano's
questions.
questions.
On item 27, with the resolution concerning health benefit plans for eligible union and non-union employee retiring in 2023. As I'll mention later in my report, we did significant changes to the health care plan. As many people know, the statewide healthcare system, the state health benefits plan went up 23%, which is really an incredible amount for 1 year for municipalities. We are not part of the state health benefit plan, and thankfully, with the efforts of negotiating with the employees, we were able to come up with a 0% increase on our health benefit plan for next year. And so this resolution allows those employees who wouldn't find out about those changes till the end of the year, who already qualified with 25 years of service, to take advantage of that retirement in the following year. It's something we did 4 years ago, and is sort of a fairness thing, since negotiations with unions and effects to healthcare changes always happen generally in December at the end of a 4-year period. And then finally, on 49 and 50, obviously we do that at a public meeting. This is the Lennar project. As you know, the township sued Lennar over its Stone Bridge for not completing the work on the punch list items. We were aggressive in that. Thankfully, as a result of our lawsuit and the pressure that put forward, the punch list items were resolved, and as a result, this comes off and is done at a public meeting.
Usually it's people are notified, so I was just curious, does the management company get notified of a bond reduction, or do all the residents?
So,
You
and I'll defer to Mark as well, but
Mr. Razumowitz, please.
it happens at a
That's the
public
last one.
meeting.
But it is a public meeting.
But
when we
isn't
do
there
that.
notification to the residents?
Mr. Razumowitz. you
Council
want to say-
President, the
Yes.
management and the HOA is aware of this bond reduction. This was
Thank
through
you. That was-
litigation,
thank you.
as Mr. Weinberg had said,
Yes,
and it is done at a public meeting.
and it is done.
Right, but I wanted at least the management company to know in case they don't read the paper. Thank you. Happy New Year.
You too. Anyone else wishing to address us? Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public comment section.
So moved.
May I have a second on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comment is closed. And the meeting, may I have a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting?
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
Good. Roll call.
No, all,
It's roll call on the adjournment.
oh, okay. Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes.
Yep, very good.
Meeting is adjourned. What time is it now?
It's 7:17.
7:17, we adjourn the agenda meeting, and we will call to order the regular meeting as soon as I get to my other page. My God. Takes me a moment with so many
problem.
resolutions this evening. Lots of
59.
pages.
Mhm.
There we go. May I have a motion to call the regular meeting to order?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, may I have a motion to approve the payment of claims per the run date of December 28th, 2022?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Abstain?
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings as written and presented? December 5th, 2022, agenda and regular combined meeting. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, thank
Second.
you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes, thank you. Ordinances for first reading. Would you please read the first ordinance?
01-2023-001, Supervisory Personnel 23 Salary and Wage Ordinance for Monroe Township, Middlesex County.
A motion to introduce this.
So
Motion,
moved.
please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Next motion, next ordinance, please.
01-2023-002, ordinance fixing 2023 through 2026 salary and wages for private party billing for police department personnel.
Motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Next one, please.
01-2023-003, yes, ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a traffic signal, control signal located at the intersection of Forest Gate Drive and Rossmore Drive in the Township of Monroe, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second?
thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Proceeding right on.
01-2023-004, ordinance amended Chapter 76 of the Monroe Township Code entitled Peace and Good Order to include Section 76-1A31 prohibiting the trespass upon private property for the purpose of tampering with or committing the theft or unlawful taking of a motor vehicle and prescribing the penalties therefore.
Take a breath. May I have a motion, please?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second,
Second?
roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Next one, please.
01-2023-005, ordinance amending Chapter 108 of the Code of the Township of Monroe to align the state requirements for electric vehicle supply service, equipment, and make-ready parking spaces.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that.
Second.
Good. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zura?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Thank you.
Ah, thanks.
Need some water, I know.
Yeah.
All right, we move to the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda. Would you please
The-
read
yes,
what we have
these-
extended?
Yes,
please?
these would be resolutions R1 2023-001 through R1 2023-059, excluding R1 2023-032, which was removed prior to in the agenda, or prior to the meeting, and also excluding resolutions R14, R22, R53, and R59.
You're correct. Mr. DePiero is just not adjusted.
Yep.
Got all that
Thank you.
right.
Awesome.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a second on that.
Second?
Thank you. May we have the vote on that?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Resolutions that were removed from the consent agenda.
Which are R14, R22, R53, and R59.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
the roll call again.
Certainly. Councilman DePiero.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Thank you. We will move to our administrator's report. Please.
Thank you very much, Council President.
My pleasure.
I will talk briefly a little bit about the work that we're going to begin on the upcoming 2023 budget. We're certainly excited to be working on that with the department heads and then ultimately to bring it to the council later this spring. We are on track, as we've been in previous years, for a 99% tax collection rate, which of course is incredibly helpful to us and to our budget, and so we always thank the taxpayers for that. We continue and move into it with our AA+ bond rating. And as I've mentioned from this dais, and thanks to the mayor and council, we've refinanced our debt several times between 2019 and 2021, saving several $1 million. And our debt has actually gone down, as we've mentioned previously, from I believe 65 million to about 55 million. And so we're certainly excited about that as well. And obviously that created a lower debt service, and we've also been able to slightly increase our surplus. We are looking forward to learning more about the ratable growth over the next week. We should hear that number, including some additional commercial ratables, which is always very exciting for us as well. The other thing, too, that we'll be working on is fighting for more energy tax receipt funding. It's something the state cut probably almost 20 years ago and finally got a partial payment on that as municipalities for the first time last year. As you know, municipal aid has also been flat for approximately 14 years now as well. So we'll be fighting on the energy tax receipt side to make sure we benefit the taxpayers. As I alluded to earlier, we finished all of our union contracts, so we're all in place for 2023. Probably our most important achievement, which the council voted on last month, was our health care coming in at a 0% interest, 0% increase versus the 22.8% that so many municipalities, over 350, are facing around the state. So that'll be important, and so we'll be looking forward to bringing the budget forward later this spring to the council. Thank you.
The engineer's report, Mr. Razamowi.
Thank you, Council President.
My pleasure.
I'll be brief. Just to advise the board, we're out to bid for the demolition project on the two homes that on property the township owns, Mounts Mills, corner of Mounts Mills and Buccalo, that farmhouse, and the second dwelling is off Docks Corner Road and Possum Hollow Road. We anticipate opening bids on January 20th and awarding at the next council meeting. Last council meeting, we awarded the Veterans Park ADA restrooms and parks maintenance facility. We are scheduling for a pre-construction meeting. We look forward to getting that project off the ground and opening early summer. And lastly, the existing railroad crossing on Gravel Hill, Spotswood Road, near our township public works facility. The state was in a few weeks ago and did some replacement of that railroad crossing. They'll be back this Friday. They have some additional repairs to make on the roadway. So on this Friday, January 6th, that road will be closed. There'll be no through traffic. It'll be closed starting at 7 a.m. and for most of the day. But it'll be reopened at the end of the day.
Nice and smooth.
And it'll be much smoother.
Much smoother when I go.
That's my report.
Thank you very much. Council reports, I'm going to begin at my extreme left with Councilwoman Siegel, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Happy New Year to everyone. I just have a few updates that I want to share from some of our commissions. They have some upcoming events over the winter months, or actually this month, so I'll just share a couple things. The Cultural Arts Commission is presenting Taking Great Photos at the library on January 25th at 1 p.m. This program is for photographers of all ages and skill levels interested in taking photos or just having fun with photography. Please check the library website for registration information. The Environmental Commission has a presentation at the library on January 21st at 11 o'clock, AM Beekeeping for Everyone. It's a hybrid presentation by a local beekeeper, Pat Evans, who will offer an overview of beekeeping to sustain honeybees. So again, please check the website. These are some great programs that they have through the commissions over the winter months, just to keep things out there a little bit and keep things moving and give you something to do. Also, I wanted to just share a little about the Youth Advisory Council. I had mentioned them a couple months ago, and we have a great group of students throughout the town, high school students that are part of this group. We're having some wonderful discussions, and this past month, they had the opportunity to learn about our police department, our first area from the municipality, to meet the students. So we had Captain Banos come, and we thank him. He shared a lot of great information about our police stations, and the students really challenged him on some questions too. And we know that they walked away with a lot of valuable information. They were very chatty after. So it was a great session for that. And I also wanted to mention at last month's council meeting, we honored 2 of our citizens, exemplary citizens, Anna and Edward. They've been doing a lot of work around Ukraine. They're showing the documentary on Mariupol again this Sunday at the library. So if anyone's interested, please do register and attend the documentary. It is very moving, and you can also learn from them different ways that you can help their foundation. So I highly recommend it. And the last thing I want to say, it's been really nice over the holiday season to celebrate the different celebrations throughout the township, and I just really it was so nice to see so many people out there celebrating everything that we had going on. So again, thank you, and I wish everyone Happy New Year again.
Councilwoman Schneider?
I did that on purpose. I had the privilege, after 2 years not being able to have Grandparents' Day, we were able to have it at the rec center. This is just one of those days that I really enjoy, a function that I go to as a grandparent. I remember years ago when somebody said to me, "You love your children," which I do. I love my son and daughter, but the minute you get a grandchild, that's it. So I have 2 grandsons. So as I walked around the room talking to different grandparents, it was wonderful. They were given a lunch, photos, and then a magic show. And the gardens, who are very, very generous to us, provided all that free. So I thank them. And Jeannie and Mary and that staff at the rec department, they are phenomenal, so I thank them. Commission on Aging, my meeting's next week, so I really don't have a great report. What I do have a report on is for those people who like to have their income tax helped. It's being done at the library. The AARP will be there. So please call the library, set up an appointment to help them with you, and they'll help you with your income tax. Excuse me. I also would be remiss for Grandparents' Day. The Key Club from the high school. These students came in on their days off and helped serve, so I would also like to thank the Key Club. Excuse me. Miriam and I were very blessed to be able to go to the Chelsea. One of our residents turned 100 years old. Very sweet woman, Stella. The unfortunate part was none of her family, because of conflict, could be there, so it was just staff and the residents. So Miriam and I had the a privilege of meeting Stella, who's a wonderful lady. So hopefully if I ever reach 100, my children better be there. That's all I'm going to say.
Tough lady, tough lady.
I'll haunt them. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilman DePiero, please.
It's a hard one to top.
Oh, wait.
Should have called Terry. Terry could have got it.
Terry's just, mixed up for the new year.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, and hopefully a healthy and happy for all of us and our community. We attended the menorah lighting at the rec center, and we also attended the one right on the corner by the post office, which brings the community together. It's really nice. And the fire company helped out, and the mayor went up there and said a few prayers for our Dallas Cowboys. It didn't work too well, but he did.
Didn't help.
He did, and I thank him for that. as we were discussing on his way up, he said he was going to say a prayer, and they lost, but either way. But I thank you for that prayer, Mayor. Last night I attended the Monroe Township Board of Education reorganization meeting, and I just wanted to put a shout out to the candidates that were successful in the election, and they vouched yesterday to work together as a team and work for the community. And Ms. Alvarez, Ms. DePayne, Mr. Tefano, and also the rep from Jamesburg, they swore in as well. And they have, they're trying to, it's an uphill battle. We all know what the school board has been going through for many years, and we're all trying to work together and trying to make it as easy as possible because of the growth in the community and along with the residents increasing. So it's important. They picked Chris Skirby as the chair or the president, and Karen Bierman as the vice chair. So let's hope that we can all work together. And I don't know if we can get a liaison, possibly from the Board of Ed, that can work with us and keep us informed on what they're doing. I try to attend the meetings, but it's important that we work together with the Board of Ed and our community. So maybe we can get a liaison from that Board of Education and work with us hand in hand. It's just a thought that I had. And we had some residents come up to the to congratulate everybody, and also made a few comments about us helping the Board of Education, possibly with some busing. There's a lot of communities in our town. We watched them grow. Lots of times they didn't put curbs or sidewalks, or they didn't protect the children or thinking about the children's safety over the years. Because when I went to school here and graduated in 1979, we only had 110 children in our senior class. It's a lot different now, and the community grew. And sometimes the sidewalks are missing. Sometimes the safety's not there for them. And it's something that they brought up last night in a little discussion about it. And I don't know if they reached out to us yet, but be prepared. If we can help them in any way, that we can step up and help them with busing or funds or whatever they need, like we did with the track and field. That was a group effort, and it worked out very well. And I wanted to shout out to DPW and MTUD for the salt that they did and the work that they did during the holidays. It's not easy, leaving your family for holidays and going out to work in cold temperatures and making sure that our roads are safe. And I was in contact with Alan through the whole time, and he was really good with it. And he said, look, if you see something, let us know. But honestly, I went out quite a bit, and the guys did a great job. They work hard. The cold weather has water main breaks. It increases work for them, and they do it in-house. And to understand how you can get all your staff together and do your everyday operations, and then something pops up like a water main break on Spotswood Englishtown Road that's a catastrophe, and now how do you deal with it? So, and then you got to pave it. You got to get it all paved by the end of the day, and there's so many moving parts. And the leadership and that they do to get it done for us and don't inconvenience our residents with water, it's amazing. And that's just, I just want to shout out to you guys for the whole year on what they've done and what they continue to do. I just had a couple questions about traffic signals. I always get a few calls from people from the Regency asking me, how's Mounts Mill? When are we getting that light? So I know we're trying to acquire the properties. Can we get an update on the Mounts Mill?
Mr. Warrenberg, do you have any information on that currently? You have a
I
microphone.
may have mentioned this at a previous meeting, but
Yeah.
just to reiterate, the town did purchase all the different parcels at the intersection. It's not people's individual homes, but mostly right-of-way and easements to put that traffic light in, which is a county project. And the county's been notified. I know the design is complete, and we've encouraged them, and I believe hopefully soon they'll go out to bid and begin construction of the Old Bridge, Englishtown, and Mounts Mill. So everything's good on our end, and we're encouraging the county to move as quickly as possible.
We don't have a bid date yet, though, right?
I will defer to Kevin if he has, I don't know if Kevin has a bid date yet. or if Mark has a bid date, sorry.
Yeah, Councilman, I don't believe there's a bid date, but I believe it's coming up pretty soon. Hopefully by the next council meeting, we'll be able to update you.
Good, good. And Prospect Plains in Applegarth, I know we just paid for the appraisals for all the land.
Yeah.
Can you give us a rundown on what's going on there?
Please.
Sure. Do you want to do that, Kev?
Sure, because he wasn't as...
So yeah, the appraisals for, there's 18 properties, and some of them have multiple easements or temporary construction easements. So our appraiser has now completed those appraisals, but what we have to do now is negotiate with those property owners over the next several weeks and months to see if they will provide those slivers of land, whether it's takings or easements, and then work with the county to move toward the bid process on that as well. So similar process, we're just a little earlier in sequence than we are at Old Bridge Englishtown Road.
Thank you. Because I'm on the Shade Tree Commission, and we are in the process of bracing up the branches on the oak, the Monroe oak, of getting it all secured. We had a hard time getting engineers to work with us to design something, but now they finally got an engineer. Gary's been working on it really hard for the tree's safety, and we're concerned, of course, with all the construction that goes on there. And so it's good to see that we're going to get that worked out beforehand, and then hopefully during the construction, they'll cone that off and section it off so there's no disturbance. And the last thing I want to say is I want to thank Mark and Center State for the guardrails. Hopefully they did them all in Monroe this year, and we're all good to go. Last time we hit Cranberry a little bit, but hopefully this year we did everything. It looks good out there. I just want to thank you, and that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Hi there, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Madam President. First thing I want to mention, I serve on the Rec Advisory Committee. We had our December meeting, and I think a special thanks needs to go out to all the people involved in rec in our town. You know, that is a volunteer position. And I got to tell you, I think I might have mentioned numbers at prior meetings, but we have hundreds and up to thousands of different kids that play the different sports, whether it be soccer or basketball or football or baseball, softball. It goes on, even lacrosse and hockey and some of these other things. And all of these people, we have the different people that run the program, but then we have the coaches, right? You need the coaches to coach the different teams, and we're sort of a victim of our own success because so many kids like to play the sports and our programs are so good. We have a ton of kids that want to play, and it's almost to the point where we have a shortage of coaches. So if anybody knows anybody that wants to go out and coach basketball, what tends to happen is if your kid is playing, you might want to be a coach to help them along. But it doesn't have to be your kid. It could be somebody else who just happens to like sports and they want to be a part of it and help some other kids develop. So if you know anybody that wants to be a coach, call the rec department, and I'm pretty sure there's people that would be willing to take you on. And it's all for a good cause. I've always said that, you know, keeping our young people involved in sports and other activities too, which could be cheerleading, it could be Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. It's a very important thing that they have things to do on a positive note. On a sad note, I want to send out condolences to the family of Cassie Feliciano. She was a 17-year-old from Piscataway High School student, killed in a car accident 2 days ago, Monday. She played softball, basketball. She had 2 younger sisters, and her family is really heartbroken. So as a parent, it just always pains me when I see such a tragedy like that. It's not Monroe, but it is a sister town in Middlesex County here. They're not that far away. So sincere condolences to that family. I think they have a GoFundMe page, but it's all on Facebook. On a happier note, I want to send congratulations out to Nahira Anand Haraj. Anira was born 12:41 a.m. She was the first child born in 2023 in Central Jersey, our local hospitals, and she is from Monroe Township.
Look at that.
Her mother is Nikila Yoroju, and her father is Anantaraj Rajamanikam, if I pronounced it correctly. So congratulations to that family. Once again, Monroe is number one. I've been doing this now for a while, and I won't take long, but I do have to again mention Ukraine. The war began February 24th, 2022. Christmas Eve was 10 months that those people have been fighting off the Russian invaders. You know, last Friday, Christmas Eve, not this past Friday, Friday before, remember it started out as a nice day in the afternoon. It was freezing. Christmas Eve it was freezing. And we were all just sitting there like, whoa, how crazy is this? And then we were able to get inside our homes and warm up. People in the Ukraine, because of Russian missiles being sent, they don't have heat, they don't have electricity. I don't mean everyone, but a good amount of them. And the Russians have now gotten to the point where the battlefield is kind of a stalemate. They know they're not winning on the battlefield, so they are just out to make life as miserable as possible for the people who live there, the common citizens who did nothing to anyone. They're just going about their business. Now it's bad enough they can't necessarily go to work, but they can't even have heat and electricity, and it gets cold there. So just imagine what these people are going through. So I'm very happy that our government has tried to support the Ukrainians. I think that they've been doing a pretty good job, and I just want to make it so that their life is not as miserable as the Russians are trying to make it. So I just want to say I hope with the change in power in the House of Representatives that support continues for the Ukrainian people. And lastly, as I say, I look at this as, you know, what's on my mind, not for any particular reason, but most people know that I'm a big sports fan, especially when it comes to Rutgers, where I went to school, especially Rutgers basketball, which was one of my biggest pleasures. There was a coach you may have heard of from the past, Jim Valvano, and he said, you got three things in life that are important: your family, your religion, and Rutgers basketball. And I tend to abide by most of that, although I'll throw in the New York Mets and maybe Bruce Springsteen also. But anyhow, I'm watching this game the other night. Rutgers is taking on the number one team in the country, Purdue, not at home where we always tend to do well, but on the road, Mackey Arena, which is one of the toughest arenas to play, and they went on and they pulled it out. They pulled out this victory, and it was a great, great win. So I was looking forward all night to watching SportsCenter and all the other shows to hear about Rutgers. And before I could even catch my breath, I got a text from one of my friends. We do this during the games. And he said, well, something just happened in Monday Night Football that was very serious. So I changed the channel and I look and I find out about Damar Hamlin. He's the football player for the Buffalo Bills who was taken off by ambulance. His injury was so serious he went into cardiac arrest, and he's been fighting for his life ever since. Been in critical condition on a ventilator, and we're hoping he does well. But my point is, you know, you see a football player, and we get all excited about football games. Oh, this is an important game because, you know, if Buffalo wins, it means something. If Cincinnati wins, it means something. And then you realize it's just a game. You know, this is a matter of life and death. And Damar was not just a football player. He was 24 years old.
He is,
24.
he is.
My daughter's 24 years old, okay? When he was 20 and he graduated college, he started a foundation to purchase toys for the kids affected by the pandemic in the town he grew up in, which was McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania. That's where he grew up. They said he always wanted to give back to the community. That was one of his goals in life. Had a goal of raising $2,500 to get some toys for kids. Would you believe right now they have raised over $4 million? $4 $4 million for that charity, so it shows how well liked he was. And I find it ironic, isn't it really ironic that when tragedies strike, it brings out the best in people? You know, you saw the first responders who did a tremendous job. You know, you see the other people who are out there who try to help out the community and contribute and stuff like that. You know, last month we honored a few of our own that helped out during the pandemic, and the people from helping out during the war in Ukraine. So, you know what? When these things happen, the irony is it's not only do people come forward, but it's never a political thing. You know, it's not if you're Democrat or Republican or independent. It's just a matter of it's a do the right thing. And so many people come forward in time of tragedy to do that. So I just find it's as sad as it is, sometimes it gives you a little bit more hope for the future as to where we are as a country and where we are as a people. So I just want to say I hope that DeMar has a quick recovery. I hope he does well. I know it's been very hard for him and his family, but I wish him the best, and I'd like to see all the people contribute, continue to contribute in a positive way.
Thank you very much. Mr. Van Zura always reminds us of exactly where we stand in the world. At this note, always my pleasure to ask our mayor, Stephen DeLina, to give us his report, and it is my pleasure to do so now.
Once again, thank you, Madam Council President. Again, as you can hear from my voice, a little under the weather. But I do want to start by wishing everyone certainly a very happy New Year. Let's make it prosperous, wealthy, and in my particular case, healthy for everybody. Monroe is certainly a wonderful place to live and work, and I certainly pledge with all of my colleagues here on this wonderful council, as well as the residents, that we will continue that concerted effort. Despite obviously the successes that we tout, we all still are feeling the effects of COVID and pandemic with rampant inflation worldwide. It's something that we experience as a homeowner for your own budget. If you work in another job, I'm sure you're experiencing it, and it's no different than what we are experiencing here in Monroe. But please know that I will continue to focus on affordability in 2023, and certainly that balance of affordability, but also providing those services and amenities that we all have come to expect. As has been mentioned, it is the start of the new year, so we are in the midst of crafting our 2023 budget. Over the past 2 years, we've kept taxes stable, which has certainly been an accomplishment. Though we are not number one with taxes, it was nice to hear the first baby in the county was from Monroe. But we are number two, the second best effective tax rate here in the township, which is always something to tout. And just lastly, with the affordability theme, I would be remiss. The last couple meetings, I've just reminded everyone about the Anchor program. And I certainly encourage all residents, if you have not done so, please do so. If you have done so, then I ask that you reach out to a friend and remind them this is something that we as a governing body worked very hard for the residents of this, not only the state of New Jersey, but specifically for this township. It is within our reach to get some cash back from the government, and this is the opportune time. So please, I've designated the library as well as the tax collectors to be assistance centers, so there's no reason for you and or a friend or family member to reach out to those two entities here in our town to help you. So please do so. As was mentioned by Councilman DePiero, very happy to see the reorganization meeting at the Board of Ed. Always a wonderful moment as an American to see a government body elect leaders, and then within their own ranks be able to come together and organize, reorganize, and select leadership. Now, while the Board of Ed is certainly a separate government entity, much like our fire districts, certainly we can research formal relationships, but I have to say, as mayor, I've enjoyed a very good communication relationship with the Board of Ed president. And to the fact where, you know, when you do have two separate government entities, it's something called shared services, where there's benefits to both. And I think we've seen that obviously with the turf field. And certainly always open to shared services, whether it's the Board of Education or even the fire districts. That's what we're here to serve the citizens of the town. I also would just want to comment on two items on the agenda. As the BA mentioned, and I think it was mentioned a couple times, was that it was a 0% increase in healthcare costs for 2023 as compared to the 23% increase not only the state, but many, many other municipalities are going through. So this is, again, this is good leadership by our council, our administration, to make sure that we're providing not only the best and affordability for our citizens, but the best quality of life for our workers, our employees. So that's something that we're in a much better position than a lot of other municipalities on that particular issue. I also want to commend the council for taking action to help curb the rise in auto thefts in our state. As I had been mentioning the last couple of months regarding auto thefts, they've gone up from 8 auto thefts in 2019 to 17 in 2021, and they're slightly higher as in 2022. But still, those numbers are much less than a lot of other municipalities. And again, it's a testament certainly to our police force. But I think adding an extra tool in the toolkit to combat the possibility of stolen vehicles in our town is certainly to be commended. I'm glad it was on the agenda and moved along. Finally, as Council Vice President Van Zura had mentioned about all of us are praying for Damar Hamlin, who suffered cardiac arrest on the football field Monday night. Tragic events do happen, and we do come together. You know, tragic events, you recall the story of Hank Gathers, young basketball player, died on the court, heart attack. And even here in Monroe Township, Mikey Nichols, tragic hockey accident. So with that in mind, please keep that young man in your prayers. It is so very important that we embrace when a family member, when a member in your community, when a young man suffers something so tragic, that we come together with prayer. We did receive some phone calls in regards to potential issues here in the town regarding AED devices, defibrillators. I do want to bring to your attention that all of our facilities are equipped. This was something that was done years ago when I was involved, I know, with baseball and the Rec Advisory Board, that the following locations have AED devices: Danny Ryan Football Field, James Monroe Park, Thomas Allen Softball Complex. The senior events carry a portable device. The Spray Park has one. Lacrosse carries a portable device that we supplied to every event. We also will continue to promote training all of our volunteer coaches. Furthermore, all of our police cars have a defibrillator device, and our officers and of course, our EMS are trained. So please know that Monroe Township takes this very seriously. Way back in the day, there was also a young boy who was hit by a line drive in the chest at a Little League game and suffered a fatal cardiac incident. The Baseball League implemented heart guards. So it's something that we do take very seriously here in Monroe Township. So besides the prayers, it's also action as well. With that being said, please have a wonderful, wonderful new year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We will now go to the public comment section of our meeting. I would like a motion to open public comments, please. Somebody?
Make a
So
motion.
moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Remember, it's 5 minutes per speaker. Please come forward to the mic if you wish to address the council, giving us your name and address. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Ratner, 2 Kings Court, Monroe. Mr. Vinzer, I did want to tell you, when you brought up Rutgers, most people don't notice about me right now, since I retired from teaching music. 5 years ago, I'm just mom, but I was a music teacher. I was a music major at Rutgers in the marching band and the pep band, so I attended all those basketball games and kind of wish they were as good back in 2002 as they are now, but, we'll take what we can get. Anyhow, sorry, new mic for me. There were a few things I just wanted to mention. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody. Want to preface it by saying I'm speaking as a private citizen and a taxpayer, not on behalf of any other group. I wanted to thank you for approving my reappointment to Cultural Arts Commission. It really is great to live in a town where there's such a commitment for the arts to have that. I look forward to continuing with Ms. Naumick as chair and the rest of the commission. Along those lines, one thing I wanted to bring up, we have a lot of opportunities for adults to volunteer in our town. Probably more opportunities than people who take them on, as the people who volunteer for positions tend to know. One thing I'd really love to encourage is for our town to try and find more ways for children to volunteer. And one thing I've realized having young kids is until they reach middle school age, unless they're involved in Scouts or in a youth group, there's very little opportunities for them to volunteer. I figured this out with my daughter, who's very empathetic, very much wants to help others. She saw a group of people who were supporting a mom who was fighting breast cancer, and so she was looking for ways to volunteer because she said, I want to do something. And for kids under 12, there really isn't that much unless you're in one of those groups. And to me, that's really sad, because if we can start teaching kids to volunteer at a young age and to give back, they'll continue to grow into that. And so I would really encourage the council, the town, in some capacity, to find a way to allow young kids, because I know we have opportunities for high schoolers and even middle schoolers to an extent, but that 12 and under group, there's really a gap there. And so that's just something I've noticed and would love to see. One other thing I wanted to mention, this is something that I've heard from other people, but it actually was affecting me personally, so I felt okay bringing it up because I try to only speak for myself and not for others. There were a lot of issues with the water bills recently. I know that as a council you have no control over the utilities, bills, and things like that. However, I can tell you personally, my bill went up for water over $1,000 from Q3 2021 to Q3 2022. That's a significant amount, and while it was a bit of a drier season, it wasn't $1,000 drier to me. And I have heard that there were some new meters installed and things like that. I don't know how many other people were affected, but I have seen several others mention it. I also wanted to request, as we go into this year, that any of you who may have any relationships with other state legislators, please ask them to consider sponsoring or having bills A3578 or S354 to make an effort to move these forward. It is to help create a task force to help reevaluate school funding formula, and this is throughout the entire state, but this is something that won't just help our schools, but really will affect our entire town because it will help relieve a lot of the burden on our township. And then finally, I did just want to thank you all for all of the holiday lightings around town. Specifically, I personally wanted to thank you for the Hanukkah lighting. You know, I know we had spoken, it was very small, but for the people who were there and for the people who, I always appreciate a good Christmas tree lighting, but to have something where my kid said, hey, this is my holiday. You know, my son thought Santa delivers his Hanukkah presents until and my 3-year-old. So I really did appreciate having that opportunity for my son. So thank you both for that and for those lightings and everything that you all do in general.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, all. Happy New Year. I wish everyone good health and enjoyment in the new year. I do have a question regarding Resolution R1-2023-054, resolution authorizing the reduction of the berm and landscaping guarantee posted for Georgetown Estates Phase 1. Could that be explained in some detail? Is that a reduction of what the approval was?
Council President, that's a reduction of the performance bond for that development.
That doesn't mean that they're reducing the berm and the landscaping at all?
No, under the new bonding laws, there's a separate bond for the berm and landscaping, separate from site improvements. So this is just the berm and landscaping bond that's being reduced. It's still in place, it's just being reduced.
Is that because of the new law that it's being reduced? Is there a reason?
No.
What would be the reason?
No, the
for
difference is
reduction?
under the new, it's been a couple of years now, the bonds are split up, so it's just separate bonds, where in the past it was all on one bond, site improvements and landscaping. So now the landscaping's broken out. The landscaping is installed, so they're entitled to a bond reduction for what's in place, but not a total release of the bond until the entire development is constructed.
That's sufficient. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, and for the record, please, your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street.
Thank you.
In Monroe.
Yes, in Monroe. Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else wishing to address us, please come forward. Your name and address for our record, please, sir.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. My name is Doug Poy. I live at 4 Tamarack. It's in Regency. I've been a resident of this township for 53 years. And I can remember when I first moved here, I attended a municipal meeting of some sort in a little tiny 2-room wooden building on Prineville Road. And I can say that the township has come quite some distance now to be meeting in this very nice facility. And I particularly, I don't attend very many of these meetings, but I want to say that tonight I felt very good about the conduct as well as the comments that I was hearing from the various members of the council and our mayor. It was just very reassuring that I believe that our municipal government is in good hands. I also want to thank Councilman DePiero for attending those Board of Education meetings. He was there last night, and he has already mentioned something that is the reason for my coming here tonight. So you will hear much of what he already said, but from me. The board is working on its budget just as the township is working on theirs. So I think my suggestion is pertinent to your work, both for the board and the township. As you may or may not know, under state law, students in grades K through 8 that live within 2 miles of the school do not have to be transported by the school district. The law does not require that they be provided with transportation. The same is true for high school students, except their distance is 2.5 miles. So when you think about it, and I lead the hiking club at Regency, and I know about how far, and I know we're senior citizens, but we don't walk that slowly when we're hiking. And I know that typically it takes us about a half an hour to do a mile, and that's on mountainous terrain. So I would estimate that a young person might do a mile in about 20 minutes. So I got to thinking about this, and I'm thinking, well, we have students that if we did not have courtesy busing being provided by our Board of Education, we would have students that might have to walk for 40 minutes up to an hour, possibly in downpouring rain, thunderstorms, and it's just not right, and our board has seen fit to make sure that those students are kept safe. Our Board of Education has provided this courtesy busing for many years, and the busing is understandable. There are potential safety hazards, as Mr. DePiero mentioned. The traffic volume has picked up, vehicular speeds. We have inadequate or non-existing sidewalks, and some roadways have blind curves. These hazards were not created by the schools, but they arose from neighborhoods being built, and I'm going all the way back into the 50s, from neighborhoods being built without consideration for the safety of students. And I think it would be appropriate for this council to enter into discussion with our Board of Education in terms of helping to defray the cost of the courtesy busing that our Board of Education has to provide. And the reason I ask that you consider doing that is I know that presently our board is anticipating less revenue than they've had in the past. They have two initiative programs that are going to be bringing in less funds this year, the early childhood education as well as the food program. They also will have less surplus from this year's budget to carry over into the next year's budget. They've already projected that. So they're going to be hard pressed to maintain our present provisions for our students. And one of the ways that you might help, if it's legal, I don't know if it is or not, but one way that you might help is to entertain this idea of the board helping to cover the cost of courtesy busing for the students of Monroe Township. I thank you.
I thank you for your comments, sir. Does anyone else wish to address us this evening? Hearing and seeing none, I am going to ask for a motion to close the public comment section, please.
Motion.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
No, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion for
No, we
adjournment.
need a verbal no that no one's opposed. Thank you very much. Seeing no other business, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So
Thank
moved.
you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Someone say no.
Say
No, we are
Say no.
adjourned, folks.